How we doing today, man? $60 day. Leave a comment right now if that's a good thing or a bad thing. How many trades do you think I took to get here? How many how many trades do you think I took? How many micros do you think I used, right? Based on previous experience, right? Leave a comment right now before you see this video. Um, So, if you watch my videos, most of you would think that today is probably not a very good day. And you would be wrong. You'd be completely wrong because I took one trade and I used one micro and I got a 2RR. So, I'll go over that. But I do want to first kind of mention that my biggest problem with today, or my biggest lesson I want to learn from, is the fact that I'm very dissatisfied with doing everything right. And I'll go over what I mean by that throughout this video, obviously. But I objectively had a great day. I was patient. I took a great trade. I took a great entry. I managed my trade as close to perfect as I do. And mentally, I'm not very happy. And I want to learn how to rewire my brain and rewire my brain from P&L to RR and win rate. I want to be more focused on the risk to reward and the win rate rather than P&L, because when I'm P&L focused, which was today, $60 feels just like nothing. Like I might as well just, not even trade it. But objectively, today was a great day. It was a fantastic trading day. And I did everything right. I did everything I was supposed to. So it's weird that mentally it's so tough to, accept a small winning day, because, that's what we should be excited about, is having good risk to reward, a 2RR, right? And that wasn't where I was celebrating. It was more of a, man, I could have made more. I should have made more, all this stuff. When in reality, I did my job. I got a piece of the move. I did not need to trade all the way to this high, even though that was my objective, right? This is where I expected price to go to, right? But do I need to take a trade to this high? Absolutely not. I don't need to, right? That's not what I am here to do. So to go over ES, we are at all-time highs. So we are at all-time highs. We just took that out. Friday, expecting nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm expecting nothing tomorrow, but we will show up and we will look and we will be patient, right? But going into today, I also was really kind of, hesitant going into the market about what I really wanted to see. But I marked out the opening range gap, or like from the regular trading hours, right? We have a gap, right, where market closed to where it opened. We had this gap. We traded to the 25%. We also traded, and this is ES because I was using ES as a lot of my confluence. We also trade to this high here. So this is yesterday's high. So if you notice, this morning, right before we had our move up, what did we do? We traded to yesterday's high on ES. We came down to yesterday's high, and we had a reaction out of there. We also, do we have a 4-hour now? We have a 4-hour fair value gap down here that I would not mind seeing a continuation longs in. But that was kind of where we were at in the charts, right? We had a massive move yesterday because of the FOMC. We had a 100-point move on ES. And so we get a 25% retracement to an area where, there's some merit in support and resistance, and there was some support at the previous day high. And we have a reaction out of this 1-hour imbalance, and we go to all-time highs. At this point, I would say day is definitely done. All-time highs have been taken. So really, if you're trading now, it's going to be tough, so you might take some unnecessary losses. But it's always good to study price action, which is, I'll watch price action the rest of the day and kind of observe. But that's where ES was at. And in Q at the time, we made, if I turn off these drawings, in Q today, right, I was looking at, and let me see, is this the M in Q? I'm going to go to the full contract. So for the full contract, we had, man, my hair is crazy. You guys remember? No, I guess I didn't. I was gonna say, do you guys remember when I had the buzz cut? But I did not. I was not making videos at that time, so that was a different time in my. That was right before, honestly, like when I was first starting trading, I had a buzz cut, so I forgot that you guys weren't here for that. But going into the day, right, we have this high, which is still an objective for NQ, so I guess there's still more for the market to reach to. But we have a massive SMT with all-time highs. Again, I'm expecting this to become the draw on liquidity right here. Why? Because this is a very nice daily fair value gap, right? And then we'll still have the SMT, and this would be an area where I could see price rejecting for sure. But again, you're not going to be able to just predict, right? The market does what it wants. So we are completing a very, very nice buy model. And as soon as I draw this in, all my drawings will come in. So that's frustrating, but the buy model is almost being complete. So let's just get rid of this and take these off again, right? So this is a clean buy model being complete on the bigger time frame. And I don't really mention it much, but like my main strategy, I guess, in terms of how I view price action is just market maker models, because I learned a lot from Justin when I was in his Discord, and that's all he really focuses on. So whenever I'm explaining the charts and stuff, you have to realize that I'm solely looking for market maker models, continuations, right? Smaller time frame market maker models. So today's trade was just a smaller time frame market maker model. So we hop onto the 1 hour, right? We have just a massive expansion overnight. We have like a 400 point move just straight up, just all low resistance liquidity, right? I was going today very confused with what I really wanted to see happen, right? So what did I wait for? If we hop onto the 15-minute, I wanted to see, or the 1 hour actually, I end up marking this fair value gap right here. This fair value gap was my point of interest. This 1 hour, why? Because it's just the first 1 hour imbalance. There's some liquidity resting beneath it, right? So this is the 1 hour for context. We also have an order block. The next 1 hour fair value gap's all the way down here. I did not expect it to be hit. And I wanted to see yesterday's high, and we don't end up getting yesterday's high. But yes, did. So that's kind of like a support. So it's almost like a support and resistance SMT, which I don't know if that's a thing or not. But that's just kind of something I was just looking at, kind of assuming. I don't know if assuming is the right word for it, but regardless, the first idea for today was that I wanted to see this area get traded to, this 1 hour fair value gap, right? This is a 6 a.m. low. We don't put this low in, so I wouldn't be surprised if we come down and sweep this low, which is now a 4 hour imbalance. I would like to see this come down and sweep this and rebalance this more efficiently, right, to the equilibrium point. But again, I'm not putting any expectations on the market. So going into the day, that's kind of where the bias was. It was bullish, but I was not going to go long until I saw some sort of retracement, at least to this gap, because going long here is a nightmare in my opinion, because if you just zoom out, right, are you really going to just think that this trend is going to completely continue and not stop anyone out here that woke up and was like, you know what, I'm putting some longs in, right? The market's not just going to keep going up. So I knew that this move was a complete fake out, right? And my first idea for a trade was this SMT. I really wanted this SMT inverse right here on the 2 minute, but I'll pull up the execution. It closed here, and I set a limit order for this for a retest. I was going to trade to this 1 hour would be my main target. I would have gone break even at this low, or maybe this low, but as you can see, it ran straight down, and it would have been, if it retraced there, it would have been a 57-point move, so a pretty solid day, and my day would have been done there. Which is fine that I missed it, and I'll pull up the execution, or the almost execution, and yeah, it's always just frustrating. It can always be frustrating whenever you see a move and it just doesn't quite give you the entry confluence that you want. So I was like, okay, cool, we get a close here. I put in my limit order, and it hadn't closed yet, so I moved it up, and then it closed, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get tapped in here, and I leave it. And it just never returns. It just never returns, and it sells all the way off and hits the take profit. I just closed it, and I didn't chase it. I didn't jump in late, and I just let it play out. And I took pride in the fact that my idea was correct, where the draw on liquidity was at the time was correct, and my view on price was good. So took positives, but it was frustrating because, you know, that could have been a day done. right off open, and right before the macro, I believe, right at the macro open, 9:52. So the macro literally opened on this candle close. So everything would have been in sync here, right? Macro opens in 15 seconds of this candle. So macro opens right when this candle closes and runs price. Look how efficiently price runs after the macro opens, right? Macro opens right here. Boom. Macro's open. We don't even get a wick. We do not even get a wick at first. I guess we get no wick. We get no wick. The macro opens, boom, no wick. We run through. So, again, frustrating, but what can you do about it, right? There's nothing you can really do about it. If I got in off the close, would have been fine. But what I did was fine too, waiting for the retest, because a lot of times, I was trying to get myself. It was only going to be about 7.5 points, but that's still 7.75 points you don't need on a stop loss. So again, I do not hate it. I do not hate it at all. The next entry that I was planning on taking, let's use that in a second. So after that happened, we were like, okay, that was great, but I wasn't super upset because I knew that I still wanted longs and out of this fair value gap. So we tapped the 1 hour, and the macro is still going, and we run this 2-minute imbalance, right? My next idea was that I was going to trade off of a retest of this 2-minute, right, which we would have gotten. So if we would have gotten in here, we would have gotten in on the 2-minute here, and we would have had our stop below this low, 32 points, to get 64 points, and then maybe we would have held to here, right? We would have held the first take profit, or if we closed both, that would have been a very good trade too. And even if our risk was here, lower, right? What do we have here at this time though? I did not really feel comfortable that this wick into this fair value gap wasn't going to get remanipulated. And we also had a 5-minute imbalance here. So we end up inversing this 5-minute, and we end up inversing a 3-minute and a 2-minute, right? So this trade ends up working very well, right? We end up respecting this 1 minute very well right here. Consequent encroachment of the 2-minute inverse. We hold it very strongly, and we get displacement higher. We then create a fair value gap small one right here that we end up trading to. And where my entry actually came in, I guess, I didn't even need to take it on the 30-second, but I took this on the 30-second fair value gap right here. I took the 30-second, I got in longs around here, a little bit higher up, and I'll show the execution. And I took profit at relatively that high. And my stop loss was below this wick, so I was only risking 14 points, about $30 on 1 micro. And this is a very good trade. This is a fantastic trade. This is a 34-point trade, right? And then if I held to this high, that would have been 43 points. That's all I need. That's completely all I need. So for the first entry, I'll kind of show my thought process here. Similar thing. I was ready for the trade. I was going to set my limit, but then I was like, you know what? Let me just see what happens in this 1 minute. I kind of want to see price react. I don't want to get in early. I don't want to just get in here and then it runs down, retakes it slow, and then goes, because then you're just chasing back losses, right? You just, the win is covering your loss and some. So I'd much rather just get the first trade to work and be confident in the first trade and not have to re-enter. The same idea, just be a little early to the move. So I was just hesitant. Missed my entry. Would have been filled there. Would have been great. We would have had a little bit of drawdown, but again, it would have been fine. And then we'll go over the trade I actually end up placing, right? So again, why did I take this 1 micro? Well, 1, I wanted to drop my size. 2, I was just not super confident, because I should have been, because this model is great, and looking back, I know it's great, but live time, I was just like, do I really want to lose on this? Do I really, if I lost from this, how would I feel? So I'm like, okay, if I take this trade and I lose, I'm only losing $32. My stop was right underneath this fair value gap inverse, because I wanted to see it kind of break away now that we took out this internal high. I didn't really want to see us retest it. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, I don't really mind. Man, this is nice. Would have been $181 if I let it go to the high, which it does hit. But again, I had 1 micro. I would have left a runner there. But what can you do, right? I trade 1 micro. It is what it is, right? We'll be able to convert these types of days a lot better eventually, right? Eventually, these days we'll hit our runners and we'll have multiple micros and we'll hit a massive trade and it'll be great. but we're just not at that level right now, and that's fine, right? We're compounding these small days. So we end up making this 1 minute fair value gap right here. That was like, okay, that's at least some more confirmation. I was still just a little hesitant in this trade just because I just was hesitant, right? I just get nervous in my trades, bad at holding them. So I'm seeing price play here. And yeah, everything about this model looks great. This entry is a lot better than the original entry because of this wick right here, this 1 minute. Trades back down to the 2 minute, trades to this 1 minute fair value gap, trades to this 5 minute, and holds very strongly with a very bullish close, and then we inverse a 1 minute right after. So this trade is very, very good. This model is very, very good. And then we execute well. So we draw in our 1 minute, just in case it wants to come there. And then I believe right here, it was just toying. I was like, okay, I would love to see it start moving now, right? And what does it do? It starts running. And at this time, I'm like, okay, this is when it should go, if it's going to go. But I wasn't super just whatever. I was kind of waiting for a close. If it closed above this high, I would probably just kind of move to break even. And the reason for that is just because at this point, the model should be ready to go, right? We had all the manipulation, right? The move lower here, right? On these wicks, this is the damage the traders are getting along, right? This should be the final expansion. So I moved to break even. I'm kind of just chilling here, right? And my plan was to, when it ran through this high, I was going to take profit this high, but I knew that it could just run and shoot past it a lot higher. So my plan was to trail my stop loss through the high to try and bank in as much profit as I could, because I'm in 1 micro. So the best way to maximize the profit would be to just run this up through. So I was at break even. I moved it lower because I was like, I'm not going to take a break even stop here. But again, I don't mind being at break even on this trade for the reasons I stated, because this should be the last leg. It really shouldn't stall here. It should go and run the liquidity. So I really don't want to be in this trade. If it comes down, stops me out, I was fine with it today. Just because this is a situation, right, where it makes sense. If I got the first entry on the 2 minute, getting stopped at break even would be being aggressive. But this right here, we've already seen the rebalance, right? We've already seen a dig deep lower to stop traders that are in longs out, and now it should be the final move. So we had this 30-second fair value gap. I had my stop loss. There's a 1 minute as well, and it wicks the 1 minute, so I'm like, okay, this should really hold. I have my stop loss just a little bit trailed. I didn't want to see us come down, and obviously I get a little bit luckier in the sense, right, that it doesn't hit me. I move my stop to just close as break even as possible, and this is where, when this candle's come down, I'm expecting to get stopped for sure. But I don't just close the trade, which is good. That's a positive thing, because I want to see how this 1 minute holds. We have about 24 seconds. So when this 1 minute fair value gap holds with a nice wick, I move my stop loss to the wick, right? Because it's pretty much break even. It doesn't really change much, but this is just also, it should not come back down there. And if it does, I'm probably going to get stopped at break even anyways. So this next candle comes in good. When I see this acceleration, I don't have my stop here yet because I haven't let go of it, so it will not fill me. I'm holding it, waiting for a close. I want to see, or a run above this high, then I will move my stop to this level. And then we start running above it, so now I can feel more confident. But at this point, it's just about waiting for this high to get ran through so I can drag my stop through, and you guys will see how I execute that in a second. It will come through, so we can watch this all live time. But yeah, so overall, good trade, right? We were a little bit antsy in the trade, but it's fine. We were in 1 micro. We were learning how we deal with different circumstances, and it was good. Everything played out well. This was a good model, and it's good to learn from. So regardless of if we did get stopped out break even early on this trade, we still would learn from this trade and see it runs above, and I end up getting filled there. So notice that, right? That's something that I think people don't utilize much, and it's not like I invented it at all by any means, but notice how if I had my limit order just to get filled at this high, I'm missing out on some profit, right? It runs the high, boom, and now I've already instantly banked in however many more points, and I get that instead of here, right? You always run the risk of it just taking this high and running down, but if you're willing to take that risk, right, then that's fine, and you can get more profit. So that was something interesting that I was actually happy with doing. Again, if I would have just left my runner to this high, we would have had a fantastic day, but that's not what we're here for. We're not here for ifs, ands, or buts. But yeah, but that was the trade execution. And in terms of overall, right, I could have taken this first entry here, the retest of this 2 minute. That would have been very good because we would have had one take profit, leave a runner to the high. Would have been a fantastic day. Would have been shoulda, coulda, woulda, 65 points and 130. So that's 260 plus. That's 200 and that's 304. Like 60, 120, 260, 280, 290. 390 would have been around a $390 day, right? Very, very good. And we could have even added in this fair value gap here, so we could add two more micros. So who knows, right? But that's just where I could be trading at. That's the level I could trade at in the future. So right now it's just about, identifying the model, right? What do we have? We have a liquidity sweep here, right? We have a liquidity sweep in a higher time frame fair value gap, right, which is the 1 hour. We even sweep this low. We have an inverse, so we disrespect bearish structure. We hold a lower time frame bullish fair value gap, and we have original consolidation here at the high, and we have the market maker buy model on the lower time frame. So this is exactly what we want to be a part of, right? It's all fractal price, right? Because on the bigger time frame, we have this model, right? What do we have here? We sweep the low, we make a bullish imbalance, we hold it, and we send price higher. This is a buy model. This is a buy leg, right? We have a buy leg inside of a buy leg inside of a buy leg. And again, this might just seem cherry picked, but this is really how the markets, or how I view the price action, how I view the markets. This is what I'm looking at. So it seems cherry picked, it seems whatever. But this is genuinely all part of this model to this high here, right? And then eventually we're going to complete this high and then go to all-time highs. But all of this is a part, right? I can't just see something here and then know that this is going to happen here. But you have the context. You have the context of this buy model, and then you zoom in. And then you're in the time frame of the model. So what do? You get another sweep. You get a reversal pattern. Boom. Buy model. And then what do? You can't just get in long here on market open, because if you're day trading, right, NASDAQ can move 50 points against you, and so you can't just go long at market open. Market open, you can't just say, hey, we're in a bigger time frame buy model, so I'm just going to long off open. If I were to just do that, right, open price here, opening bell here, oh, I'm just going to long off open and target this high. It would have hit, but, you're not going to have a 85 point stop loss. So you look for a market maker model inside of the model. So then you see, okay, what do we have? We have a liquidity sweep on the low time frame. We have a higher time frame fair value gap, the higher time frame of reference, the 1 hour. We get displacement through a bearish PD array. We hold a bullish PD array. We inverse another bearish PD array. We rebalance, we hold, we stop out some traders in longs. We then get an entry model inside of our tiny leg. So what do we get? We get a small piece, a fraction of the move right here. We get about 36 handles of the move, right? And obviously you could have gotten here, right? You could have had a better trade here, but just this piece is all you need to be happy with. Is all you need to be happy. When you see this move, right, this is the buy model, and you get this part of the move, right, look at all this price run that you don't get, right? And that's fine. That's completely fine. Look at what you do get. It looks like nothing, but when you zoom out, it's even less of anything, right? If we zoom out here, right? If we zoom out on that higher time frames, look at what this is, right? Look, you can't even see our trade anymore. This little micro trade. And that's why anyone that brings up how banks trade efficiently, that one kid on TikTok, if anyone's seen him, he's an absolute clown, because just because I'm not going to be able to buy here accurately and hold a move to here consistently doesn't mean that you can't find a piece of the pie right here. This tiny fraction of price action. You can't even see it, right? You can barely even see it, because all the context leads you to this one moment of long, right? It's all related, right? And once you can really understand how to view price action, then obviously just the better and better you'll get, because again, this might be very confusing, or maybe it's not. And I'm sure a lot of people understand what I'm saying, because it's all just the same concepts that everyone talks about constantly, nonstop. It's nothing new. I'm not inventing anything crazy. This isn't something that like people can't do or something. Like it's it's probably the most talked about concept, at least that I see. But until you have the reps and experience of actually seeing it, you won't understand it. You just won't. And it takes a lot of time to see. And even when you do see it, like, because I see this stuff, I believe very high level, I still make mistakes because it's still emotional. There's still emotions behind your decisions. There's still fluctuations in price. It's still hard to execute flawlessly. But it's just about reading price better and better each day. So today was a really, really good day. I hope that the breakdown was good because, again, even though I'm not profitable and I don't trade very well in terms of my decisions, right, live time, I hope that my breakdowns help people because genuinely I do believe I provide a lot of valuable insight and knowledge with the markets because I do have a lot of experience watching live price action and watching charts play out, and I understand what I'm looking for. It's just hard to compute that to, profitability. So I do think that there's a lot of value in today's recap for people trying to learn even, right? I wouldn't say I'm like a teacher, but I think that this is something you should definitely study. Definitely study this price run here and figure out, the consistencies that you see because this stuff is no different than what happened on Wednesday, or what day is it? Today's Wednesday, right? No, today's Thursday. So Tuesday, right? Tuesday was the 19th, 18th, 17th, so 17th, right? What did we see on the 17th? We have a 1 hour fair value gap, right? What do we see there? What do we have here? 1 hour fair value gap, right? What do we have? We had a higher time frame, but we never hit it. But we have a 1 hour retracement, right, after holding a 4 hour, right? So again, this is going to get confusing here. Not really confusing, but this is going to get kind of sloppy. So we have a 4 hour here. I'm going to use this, right? We have a 4 hour on the red lines. Just keep in mind the red lines is the 4 hour. We drop down to the 15-minute, right? So we have a 4 hour imbalance that we're holding. We inverse a bearish signature in price. We end up holding that area right here. We end up displacing higher. We have a 1 hour, right? We're in a higher time frame buy model. We do sweep this high, so it does become less probable. But what do? We pull back into a 1 hour, which is that blue box. Let's find where we were at in the charts. Here we go. So we come back into this 1 hour, and what do we get? We get the same thing. We get a buy model on the lower time frame, and this one is just as clean, right? We have this high, the original consolidation. We have the sell side of the curve to a bearish PD array. We sweep out liquidity right here in a new week opening gap. We have a higher time frame PD array. We displace through a bearish imbalance right here. We end up putting an order block. We hold the order block. We displace through this 5 minute, right? This 5 minute, I don't know exactly, but I hate switching through the time frames because then I have to refine where we're at in the chart. Just know that this is a 5 minute somewhere. We end up putting a high here. We put in 1, 2, 3 highs, right? Low resistance liquidity. We put in low resistance liquidity here, trend line liquidity here. And then what do we get? We get a 30-second model, and here, after we sweep this low, holding this imbalance, right, in a buy model, we can expect an expansion. We get an expansion signature in this 5 minute imbalance right here. There's a 5 minute bullish. Again, I don't know where. I'm just going to say here for the context of the video. We hold the imbalance, we displace, we run the low resistance liquidity, and we take out the high here, which is new week opening gaps, and we reject lower. That's the same exact thing happened Tuesday that happened today. The same thing, right? Almost identical. Like I was seeing price action today, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's the same thing every day. And once you realize that the same things happen all the time, it helps ease your mind, right? For me, even today, it's kind of frustrating to only get a little bit of money, but when I sit back and realize that what I'm doing is repeatable and I can find these trades day in, day out, it no longer matters to me that I only made XYZ amount today because this price signature repeats. It's not luck. There's no luck to it, right? And that's the hardest thing that happened for me when I was trading when I'm a beginner was everything just felt luck. Everything felt random. It's like, will this ever happen again? I'll never see something like this again. This very day by day, case by case. And even though it is day by day, case by case, right? This is as close to similar as you can get to not copying Tuesday's price action, right? We don't chop as much and then retrace as severely and build trendline liquidity. We run more efficiently, right? But it's still very, very similar and it repeats, right? You'll never see the same thing. That's why it's hard. That's why it's not simple. That's why I'm not automatic yet, right? Because I still haven't seen everything that the market will throw at me. But this is how I frame all my trades, and this was a fantastic day. And I really need to learn how to rewire P&L to RR and win rate, because today was great, but I had this feeling of missing out, this feeling of, oh, I could have done more. Oh, I could have, I could have made a few $100. I could have done this. I could have done that, right? This same trade, even with one full contract, would have been $600, right? And I got 60. I could have made 600. That could have been 1,000 something in the account. Like, all these different things go through my mind, and that's what makes trading hard. Is nothing about the charts is hard. It's only the mental battle, and I'm slowly getting better. Today was a great win on the mental side, but I'm still disappointed with my gut reaction to, I'm kind of disappointed. Oh, it's just $60. Like, but I'm happy that I logged myself out. I took the day, because this is all I will need to be profitable. This price run right here and this entry right here repeats, and this is all I will ever need. This right here is all I will ever need to be very, very profitable. More profitable than all the people that catch 100-point runs every day, right? Again, not saying I can't catch a 100-point run or that I couldn't have left a runner, but if I can just get this, I need to realize that if I can just get this right here consistently, I will make as much money as I need, and everything will be great. So I need to not worry about the dollar amount. So that's the main part of the last part of this video, is just to reflect on my mental. I need to be more patient and more understanding of where I'm at in the journey, and just focus on doing the right things. This week so far has been pretty good. We had one bad day, but overall pretty good week. I need to stay focused and just keep doing the right things. Keep trying to focus on the good things. Keep building good habits. Because this trade was great. We were very, very patient. We didn't jump anything early. We had a lot of confirmation. We had a lot of confluence, and we get in and we get our piece of the puzzle, piece of the pie, whatever. So very, very happy with that. But I really need to just really master those emotions, because, it's not, oh, I'm going to be profitable and then master my emotions. It's I master my emotions, and that makes me profitable, right? I could be profitable right now if I just can do the small things right. It's the small things that you do consistently that will build monster traders. And I really just need to really be better with that, right? Because it's still hard, because it's like, oh, $60. Because then tomorrow I could take a trade with bigger size, risk 200 and lose. Even if it's a great trade, it will still be frustrating, because losing 200 and your winner was 60 is frustrating, but it's just about the process. Can I continuously take good trades? Can I continuously have good risk management, right? So for this trade today, if we were risking 200, if let's say we got in right here, and we got in with $200 risk, right? We had to stop here, 13 points. 13 points divided by 200 divided by 13 divided by 2. We could have gotten 7 micros. We could have taken 7 micros. We could have scaled, 5 at this high, and we could have left 2 for this high. So 35 times 5 plus 200 times that by 2. So today could have been a $750 trade. Very simply, right? Very, very simply. Scaling way more than 50% at the low-hanging fruit high. If we risked 200, right? And we held the rest to the external high. That's realistic. It's not unrealistic, right? There's no universe that's not possible. That's just cherry-picked. It is cherry-picked numbers, but that's just the power of doing the right thing. That's the power of proper risk management, right? I was risking $30 on this trade. $30, that's it. So, yes, I only made 60, and tomorrow I could lose more than I made today, but that's just because this risk isn't the same every time, and I'm not risking the same amount. If I risked 200, if I was confident enough to risk $200 on this trade, then I would have been paid appropriately. I got paid appropriately to my risk, right? I risked 30, I made 60. That's 2R, right? And that's where I need to be thinking of is RR and win rate, and just start journaling that, right? So that if tomorrow I lose on a setup and I lose one risk to reward, it's the numbers are skewed because I haven't gotten the consistency and confidence to take trades with the same size all the time, and that's fine because the process is always going to be more important than my P&L. So very, very happy with today. Really think there's a lot of value in today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, maybe learned something, I don't know, who knows. But if you guys are are seeing this, whatever, I would say, go out, do something outside, go to the gym, something, be active, have a good day, right? Trading is just trading. It's just trading. It's just trading. We're just looking at charts. We're just trying to make some money, right? Don't be too stressed out if you had a bad day or a good day. Whatever it is, right? Just go do something. Be a human. Go enjoy yourself. Forget about the charts, right? Do something fun, right? So if you've seen this, if you're at the end of the video, go do something fun. You deserve it. You've been putting in some work. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Not really expecting too much, I'm going to be completely honest, from Friday. But you never know. You never know. So we want to come in and build another good habit and finish the week strong. But yeah, again, appreciate everyone that watched these videos. We're nearing in on 1,800 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And again, peace.